Well, I made a little rookie move. See the front of my bucket there? Look how tweaked that is now. Oh, terrible. Just drilled a hole in there and reinforced it for light duty lifting off the bucket, and I'd put the ball in there for moving trailers. Well, I just moved my double axle trailer with it, and look what I did to that darn thing. While dropping that ball in there was very easy. You can see that's obviously a terrible idea. So this video is going to be making a receiver on the back of my tiller to put this drop hitch in. And it looks like it should be pretty easy because I got this really thick, looks about 14 millimeter thick plate steel on both sides. So I figure I'll weld a 2-inch going across and make something up. And I should have plenty of scrap metal to be able to make this happen. To go across the back, I'd like probably a 2-inch piece off of this. Yeah, that's some 1/4-inch wall, 2-inch stock. So that should be pretty good. Oh, how about this thing? This is actually a custom-made piece for a leaf spring kit on a Toyota that never got used. That might be pretty good. Then again, I guess the 2-inch square would probably be a little bit stronger. So we will go with that, or who knows, maybe both of them. Oh yeah, look at the wall thickness on that. That's some good stuff. And now we need the receiver part. Might even have one of those Harbor Freight ones kicking around in here. Maybe not. I get the kickstand off my M101A2. Some good metal. Being square here. I think it's 2.5 inch. Yeah, so it's kind of like that, thicker. There we go. No, it's angle iron. Here we go. Yeah, that's not as thick as I'd like, but that should be the size. Yeah. Ooh, it's a little loose on there. Couldn't find the right size, so I just ran over to Harbor Freight and got this standard receiver tube. Only gonna be using like this much, but for how cheap this is, I'll probably get good use out of this. I'll have another section to be able to use. This fits in there nice and snug, so no problems there. This looks good enough and it's definitely gonna work. So let's go try this thing out. Well, here's the thing. It works, but it's not ideal. I guess I didn't consider how heavy this new tiller I have is compared to the old one I had. The 3-point hitch really struggles to lift the tiller and this trailer. There's a lot of weight in this front box, winch, chains, and all sorts of other stuff. A lot of tongue weight on this trailer, but it really can't lift it. In fact, when I went to lift it up higher, it actually sunk down just a little bit. So I'm sure I could turn up the pressure on the 3-point hitch. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But I don't know if this is such a good idea because I might end up breaking the 3-point hitch arms. I think this works good for light trailers. Keep in mind, I pretty much never take this tiller off. I always leave it on there as a counterweight unless I'm using the rake or scraper blade. If you haven't seen one of these trailer jacks before, they're pretty sweet. You just pop this little pin out here. I don't know if you can hear me. You slide that over and then it can just drop down, locks back in, put your pin in, and you save yourself a lot of cranking. I always run the magnetic sweep after I clean up because sometimes I walk out here barefoot like a dummy. But look at all this stuff it find there. Oof. That's why you always want to run one of those. Sweeping up, don't get that. And plus, if you don't do this, you come out a week later after it rains and you'll have like rust-colored driveway. When I mentioned turning up the pressure to get some more lift out of that and get the trailer up, I was referring to the relief valve in the implement control system circuit here. You can see there's a shim in here. There's a big spring, and then there's a shim right there. And I believe if you change that shim out, then you can change the pressure. But first thing I'm going to do is get myself a pressure gauge because I don't want to. It might actually be too low right now. You got to check for the flow and pressure, and you can see this is supposed to be around 1920 to 1991 psi. So I'll get myself a gauge and keep that for a separate video. Who knows, maybe I'm only running 1500 psi right now and it just needs to be cranked up a little bit. So I guess we'll see. Obviously springs get worn out over time, so hopefully that's the case. Anybody know how much you can crank these things up before breaking anything? And here's what I ended up with for a final product. You can see I hit this with some rattle can yellow. I actually had kicking around. It's cat yellow, matched it pretty good though. This drop hitch is a little overkill, so I actually ordered a $30 one on eBay that's adjustable. So if I have different trailers, I can do that. You can see I relocated those pins, pushed them back a little further, a little bit lower. You know what I really love doing so much is using a little battery-operated hand drill, well, Milwaukee M18, to drill a 7/8 hole through 5/8 thick steel. It does fit nice tight in there, and it was loose in the old one. The previous guy who owned this had left this loose, so it worked that hole pretty loose on that one. That's nicer. And moved it back down a little bit, and then this should slip on there with just enough clearance. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So that now gets the tiller off the ground and it doesn't scrape coming off the trailer anymore. I did have to cut down the drive shaft about 1.5 inches since that brought the tiller a little bit closer. However, after moving this thing a touch more forward, it still struggles to lift up a trailer due to the heavy weight of this tiller. And that'll take care of the hitch. Now, the last few minutes of this video, I'm heading over to a buddy's house to help him move 20 yards of dirt and spread it out, level it in front of a pole barn that he had built. So if you're interested in seeing that, here's the footage. Kind of chopped it up and sped it all up, so it should be pretty painless and quick. It only took just over an hour and a half to move all the dirt and kind of level it out. So the 2003 B7500 Kubota is a great machine. Been using this thing for 3 or 4 years now, and it's very mild repairs. It's been a very reliable machine. Basically, in front of his pole barn here, he had like a huge drop off. So over here it'd be about, he wanted to bring it up about 12 inches or so, kind of make a flat here and then taper it off. Kubota is pretty good unit for the job. You know, just kind of knocking away at it. Nothing too fancy, but I'll show you the end how it looks here. And there's the final product here. Kind of made a flat on the top and then sloped it out. How many yards of dirt was that?
That was 20 yards. That was a truck.
20 yards, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
I said it was 20 yards of dirt. Took just about a little over an hour to move it and rake it out a little bit. Not too bad. And that wraps that one up. I want to thank him for letting me shoot that footage. This is not my usual type of video, but kind of just branching out and doing a little bit of everything. So if you watched this far, I thank you very much. And until next time, this is Chris Brown here. No nonsense, know how. You enjoy the rest of your day, evening, and I'll see you next time.